Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Leading from Alignment with our good friend, coach, and just all around wise guy. I'm sorry, wise hyphen guy, John Opalewski. How are you today, John?
Hey, Jim, I'm doing well. Good to be
Good.
with you. This topic today is something that's been on my mind for probably 10 years,
Hmm.
actually. And
Wow.
I don't think I've ever pulled together my thinking around it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try that today.
Yeah.
Uh, like to
I
try
love it.
that today. Yeah,
Good.
we're going to talk about why pastors don't ask for help.
Oh, that's gonna scratch where a lot of people are itching. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think this is true that a majority of pastors preach community. They teach
Yeah.
being
Sure.
vulnerable, and they encourage their people to ask for help. But when it comes to themselves, uh, many times they do the opposite
Yeah.
of that. And I've had I've had people ask me, I've had denominational leaders ask me, why don't our pastors
Yeah.
make avail themselves of coaching, of counseling? What's the deal? Why is that? And so I've been thinking about this a long time,
Yeah.
and there's a conglomeration of thoughts that I have about it. So I kind of like to go there today, Jim.
Yeah.
Any
Love
thoughts
it.
that you have before we really get rolling
Yeah,
here?
my favorite meal is casserole, so I love that you're putting different ingredients into the same dish. Cover it in cheese and then bake it in the end, and I'll be happy. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
go for it.
let's see if you're happy at the end of this. Let's I'll see
Yeah,
how it goes. But here's five reasons that I've observed
yeah,
why pastors avoid asking for help. Here's the first one. John, it's just another thing to add to my already busy schedule.
that's what it is. Yeah, I agree. That's the number one thing. It's one more. I'll get to it eventually. Yeah,
Right. And I'm not saying that in a critical way.
no,
I understand that.
yes,
I
yeah,
get that. That actually is logical in
yeah,
a way. It's logical. Um, they pastors tend to say no or don't ask for help because they feel like they've just got this endless list of things to do: sermon prep, counseling, hospital visits, meetings, emails,
yeah,
you name it. And so asking for help can feel like one more task instead of relief, right?
yeah,
But here's the ironic thing, that the very thing that could lighten your load, pastor, sometimes might feel like extra weight before you jump in to it. And so here's how pastors in my world and in our network, um, the ones we know who wrestle with this, they think, well, I'll deal with it later. I know
yeah,
I need help, but I'll deal
yep,
with it later. I don't have time to explain my situation to someone else. That's another one. And here's another one. It's just faster if I handle all this stuff by myself. And
yeah,
but over time, here's what begins to happen, that this false sense of urgency about everything you have to do replaces wisdom.
yeah, right, yeah,
And you're just surviving and you keep postponing help. But at some point, there is a day of reckoning coming.
yeah,
We would prefer that you don't slam into the wall, that
yeah,
you don't get burned out or depressed or filled with anxiety, or do something stupid.
yeah.
We would prefer you don't get that far, because we know that it's so much easier to prevent than it is to recover. So what
Yes.
do you think about this first, like,
I
reason why pastors don't ask for help?
when if I went back on the tape, I would see that my eyes lit up when you used the word wisdom. I'm working so hard. I feel overwhelmed. I don't have time for this. But I have literally had conversations, John, that lasted a few minutes that changed all of that. I struggled for years with talking about money as a pastor because of the abuses of the 80s, and I was coming up through the 80s and
Yeah.
saw it. And I was really wrestling with it. I ran into this guy, pastor of a nice church in Arkansas, sitting on a front porch in rocking chairs. And he said, "What's on your mind, kid?" Which is nice. I was, in my mid 50s, and he called me kid. That's how old this guy was. So I told him I'm really wrestling with this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I said, what do you do? He said, well, for every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch, so just stay out of the ditch. And it literally, that one sentence solved my problem with teaching on money. I was so concerned
Mm.
about the ditch, and there's twice as many ditches as there is road. For every mile of road, there's 2 miles of ditch. Just stay out of the ditch. So I guess what I'm saying is this, that there are people that are in our lives, or God will put in our lives, or you can invite into your lives, that can help you with that initial feeling of being overwhelmed and having too much to do and I don't have time. It's as simple as sometimes people doing hour-long appointments. Do 45-minute appointments. It doesn't make a bit of difference. You get 15 minutes to grab a cup of coffee and go to the bathroom between them, and you can take a breath between appointments. Like, that's a wisdom that you taught me. So I get around someone who is better at living the life that you want than you are, and then ask them questions. And you can make room in your life. So it's like the guy saying, I can't learn to drive a car. I'm too busy with all the miles I'm walking. Well, learn how to drive a car, and you don't have to walk anymore.
Yep.
And I sound a little emphatic, but I'm talking to myself. That's why I'm emphatic right now, is
Yeah.
I am learning this continuously, to listen to people that know the answers to my questions and quit complaining about how busy I am.
So
Yeah.
here's the second reason I believe pastors don't ask for help is I just call it reactivity versus proactivity.
Yeah.
I think as pastors we're trained many times to respond to crises instead of
Mhm.
uh, preventing them. We're very good at showing up when something breaks, but not always at maintaining our own spiritual and emotional health before it breaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we know in all the years that we've been doing this, that help is usually sought. We usually get a call after burnout hits, after conflict explodes,
Yeah.
after trust is damaged, after health is suffering.
Yeah.
And pastor, proactive help can feel unnecessary until the damage gets visible.
Yeah.
And let me tell you from personal experience that when you get to that spot, asking for help feels heavier and more complicated.
Absolutely.
See,
Absolutely.
before I fell into that ditch many, many years ago, decades ago, of suicidal depression, there were warning signs all along the way.
Right.
And I had some well-meaning people in my life who said, "Hey, I'm concerned for you," or I'm worried about this. And I would just kind of
Yeah.
blow by that. I
Mm.
didn't have, and this is not, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm going to put it this way. I didn't invite
Mm.
somebody into my life to say, "Hey, can we journey together for a while so
Right.
that I might learn something along the way that will help me avoid
Right.
this, whatever you want to call what I fell into."
Mm.
I fell into. What do you think about this second reason?
I guess I hadn't heard that part of your story before, John, that there were people that came to you and said, "Hey, I'm concerned about you."
Yep.
In my mind, I guess I saw the story as this is where I ended up. I didn't know as much. I knew about what caused you to get there, but I didn't know there was people along the way that tried to pull you out of the nosedive. They saw it.
Try to intervene. And I
Yeah.
dismissed it.
Yeah. Because no, I'm fine was the thought, or
No,
you don't want to talk
I
about it, or
no, I dismissed it, Jim, because I thought I'm a man of God. Um,
gotcha.
I'm I'm doing this for Jesus. He's going to give me the strength.
Right.
Get out of my way, so to speak,
Yeah.
and let me just keep pushing. So it was ignorant. It was ignorance
Yeah.
primarily mixed with pride.
Right.
Um, that and I'm not saying there was a line outside the door of those kind of people, but probably three or four people who said, "Hey,
Mm.
man, you need to slow down, or you need to chill out,"
Right.
or it had just bounced off me.
Right. It reminds me of the story of the guy, the flood comes, he gets up on the roof, and a guy comes by with a boat, and another guy comes by with a helicopter, and then he drowns and says, God, why don't you send me help? Like, I sent you a guy in a boat and I sent you a helicopter, and you chose this, you know?
And the way God helped me is he allowed me to slam into that wall.
Yeah.
That was the only
Yeah.
thing apparently that was going to get my attention. And Pastor, with everything in my heart, I don't want you to slam into the wall. I
Right.
mean that.
Yeah. Right. 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 Right.
Because now if you slam into the wall, we're talking about years
Yeah. Who
of
knows how long?
recovery.
Who knows how long? It takes as long as it takes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we want you to get over that hump
Yeah.
of being reactive
Yeah. You know,
and learn
John,
how
it,
to
it, it, it makes me think of pain. You know, that why would a loving God give us the ability to feel pain? Because
hmm
pain tells us something's wrong and where it's located so we can do something about it. So maybe that's
hmm
a test for people that are watching and listening right now. Like if you're in pain, well, yeah, but men can take pain. Like they can, but men aren't God. You know what I mean? Like you're
hmm
not infinite. You're not omniscient. You do need help. And if you're in pain, there are some ways to get out of pain, like confession and time
yeah.
and fellowship and a nap and a good meal, a walk with a friend on a snowy day, whatever it is. But I love that there are people that God gave insight to along your journey. And I maybe that's something. If people are reaching out to you saying, "Are you okay?" They might be seeing something you're trying not to show, but they're a gift from God speaking into your pain. Now, slow down. And maybe you don't trust everybody that says, "Are you in pain?" But you have to trust somebody with your pain to get out of it and get some
Right.
help. Yeah.
So here's the third reason why pastors don't ask for help, and this one is the lack of resources.
Yeah.
Not every pastor has access to affordable coaching, to
Yeah.
denominational support, to time off or
Yeah.
sabbaticals. In smaller churches or rural settings, pastors may feel isolated, and so even when help does exist, it might not feel safe
Right. Right.
um, or confidential. So, you know, the question that I think rings through the minds of
Mm.
pastors who are dealing with this reason is, you know, can I afford it? Um, and, and who can I talk to who won't judge me, gossip, or use this against me later? This is where the beauty of coaching comes in because,
Mm.
you know, we treat our clients with the utmost confidentiality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, I've lost count of the number of times over all the years we've been doing this when I told a pastor, you do not have to filter what you say to me.
Yeah. Isn't
You
that
don't have to
nice?
apologize for what you're about to
Yeah.
say to
Isn't
me.
that
Just
nice?
say it.
Yeah.
And uh, and so, you know, Pastor, we would love to help you figure out how to afford coaching. We
Hmm.
put together some material that you could bring to your board,
Yeah.
and I think would help them if they're not willing to invest in your growth. Perhaps this would help them open their eyes
Yeah.
because we know. Think about it, Jim. You could spend in a year. You might spend, I don't know, a couple $1,000s to have a great coach. Do you
Yeah.
know how much it costs if you go into major depression and how long the
Right.
counseling and the medicine and all that?
Yeah.
And what happens if, you know, you just get in trouble? How
Yeah.
much is that going to cost?
Yeah.
Uh, the numbers are so disproportionate. So I think this third one is another
Yeah.
reason why some pastors are shy about
So
getting
that
help.
I get this a lot when there's a couple that needs marriage counseling well beyond my ability and time to help
Yeah.
them. And when finances come up, I say, then do this before you make a decision not to go to counseling. I want you to look into what it costs, what a divorce lawyer charges, and then what a counselor charges. And you'll see that one is a bargain, especially when you consider your property dividing, your kids being, another man walking your daughter down the aisle when she gets on her
Yeah.
wedding day.
Yeah.
Let's think this through. I understand you don't have the money right now, but I'm telling you, there are some things that cost more than they should. If you would just if you put oil in your engine, you don't have to rebuild the engine. You don't need a new engine, and
Right.
an oil change would take $80 to change the oil today. I know, but it costs $8,000 to replace the engine. One's a bargain once you compare it. So
Right.
I think not just the breakdown scenario, but the fruitfulness scenario. There are things,
That's
again,
good.
wisdom can speak, and in a half hour, an hour of conversation, people can be liberated to do things that they were created to do in a brand new way, with
Yeah.
new confidence, with new initiative, but connecting with other people that just went through that same thing on the other side of it successfully. They're, the body of Christ is a gift to the body of Christ. So
Yeah.
we should have lots of these relationships in our lives.
Let me give you a fourth one, and this
Yeah.
one is a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm offended by
Fourth
it.
reason some pastors don't ask for help is pride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim, I think pastors
Uh,
are often viewed as and I'm doing air quotes here, the strong
yeah,
ones, the spiritual anchors. And over time, that can turn into unhealth. That
absolutely.
can turn into that's my identity. I'm the strong one.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can handle everything. And and for some of us, asking for help can feel like admitting weakness or incompetence or even failure, which none of that's true, but it can feel like that. You know what I'm learning, Jim, that
Mm.
pride doesn't always look like arrogance.
Okay.
Sometimes it sounds like this. I should be able to handle this.
Yeah.
Other people have it worse than me.
Yeah.
I don't want to burden anyone.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
so I think the danger here is we mix up calling with self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
That our student ministries pastor at my home church uh, puts it this way: pride keeps us stuck, humility moves us forward.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
And and so I do think that is an element here
Yeah.
in causing pastors pride causes some pastors to pause asking for help. What do you think about this fourth one?
Yeah. It's funny. Pride is, like you said, there's so many manifestations of it.
Mm,
But it's the why, it's the reasoning behind a lot of really bad masks and
yeah,
limited potential and misery, right? So that, yeah, I mean, scripture is clear about pride. It's not your friend. Humility is your friend, pride's your enemy. And God will resist people who are proud, even if the pride is
yes,
manifested through this self-deprecating,
right,
whatever. It's knowing why you're doing what you're doing is so important and often difficult to see without someone telling you what they see, challenging what you think you see with some thoughts that might reveal more than what you think you see. So again, we're back to the same thing again, getting outside help. I have a
yeah,
counselor, doesn't go to my church, never has and never will. He's in his 70s. And it's a safe place where I get to say whatever I want to say without pride, without fear, without
mm,
judgment. It is such a, I don't know if you ever had a massage, like a deep tissue massage, like this really hurts, but all these endorphins kick in about a half hour later. You just feel, yeah, I've never felt better in my life. Like, why did something that hurt me so bad a half hour ago create this sense of well-being? And I think
yeah,
having Jerry, find those knots in my soul and jump on them is a painful thing, but you walk out liberated. It isn't a knot anymore.
yeah.
Or like back to the front porch of the guy from Arkansas. It isn't a knot anymore. I've been set free by wisdom. Um, and all it took was me saying I need help, you
Yeah.
know, to people that cared about me. And we're really good at caring for people. So I'm don't let pride keep you from this. It's maybe a judgmental statement, but that's a silly reason to be a walking knot. Um, when God would have you be free.
Yeah, let me give you one more.
Yeah.
Uh, And I think it's fear.
Yeah. Sure.
Specifically, I think maybe the fear of being exposed. And I don't know, maybe that's the deepest reason.
Yeah.
Um, I think there are, and I felt this, so I know this is a real feeling, but I think we humans are afraid that if people really knew our
Mm.
doubts, our tiredness, our struggles, our pain, they might lose respect for us,
Mm.
and we might lose credibility.
Right.
We might lose our job.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say fortunately, This doesn't happen a lot in our world, but I've seen a little bit of it that when a pastor will go to his board and say, I need help,
Hmm.
that does not help. Now, thank the Lord, that's the small minority. The board sees that as an opportunity to do some things they shouldn't do. But
Yeah.
there is this fear that our vulnerability will be mishandled.
Yeah.
And so instead of risking exposure, pastors isolate.
Yeah.
And here's the tragedy in all of this, Jim, that pastors carry this message of healing in community, and at the same time, they're suffering by themselves.
Yeah.
Pastor, I want you to know something. Asking for help isn't failure, it's faith.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
It's faith.
Yeah.
And Jim, we need churches that figure out how to encourage their pastor to receive ministry themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think about what would change in the church Big C if pastors were as supported as they are supportive.
Yeah.
And so that's really what's on my mind today, Jim.
I love it. I just heard a story about a guy that climbed a big mountain and had for lack of a better phrase, a Sherpa, a guide
Mhm.
that was there with him. Sherpa would be Everest, but this is Kilimanjaro, so a guide of some sort. But a person who does nothing but go up and down, up and up, and understands how hard it's going to be for people that are going up and down one time. And every time they wanted to quit, this guy said, "Hey, you can do it. I'll walk with you. I'll help you. And I think along with that has to be someone that isn't pretending that they're strong when they're weak. His posture showed the guide, that he wasn't breathing properly. He was weak. He couldn't pull his canteen out anymore as he went up because the altitude is about almost 20,000 feet. It's 4 miles in the air. There's not much oxygen up there. So
Right.
he said, "Hey, you're not drinking. You're not." And he caught on to the fact through his body language because he was looking for it, and he helped him achieve his goal when he wanted to quit 1,000 times. The last 1,000 steps, he wanted to quit it with every step, and he
Mm.
just kept encouraging him and helping him with his strength. And so I don't think we look at that Sherpa like, oh man, what an enabler, or what a
Mhm.
bad guy. He was a man. I thank God for the guides that helped me accomplish
Mhm.
things I could have never done. I would have died halfway up or come back down. I never would have accomplished it without the people that know what they're doing and can speak to that pain that I'm in. And boy, it makes so much sense in the mountain climbing thing. It makes so much sense in the business world. I need someone who's run a business, a retired person who is a serial entrepreneur who wants to speak into my entrepreneurial thing. That's a gift from God. Why would
Yeah.
I ever say no to that guy? Why would I be dishonest with that guy or try to convince him I know everything? He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a multi-bazillionaire. He's successful in all these different areas. Why would I lie to him? And yet, as pastors, there's something different about us. I don't know what it is, but we're afraid to say we don't have it all together, and we shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
line. It's not failure, it's faith. It's trusting that God is going to put people around me that have what I need to help me climb this mountain, to help me succeed in this venture.
Yeah.
Farmers with bad crops don't hide it from other farmers. They ask other farmers for help. People that are their sheep are walking around with mange. They don't keep that a secret. They talk to other shepherds with fluffy sheep and they say, "How are you doing this?" So pastors, John's made a beautiful point here. Ask for help. That's where
Yeah.
success comes from. There's success and the multitude of counselors and
Yeah.
advisors, and kings ask for help, presidents ask for help, popes ask for
Yeah.
help. What in the world is wrong with us?
And just to really kind of bring this home,
Yeah,
uh, had an appointment yesterday with one of our clients, just a wonderful young man
yeah,
pastoring a church, and um, we've been working together for a while, and this was our first session after the holiday, and of course
yeah,
this pod is going to be dropping in March, so
yeah,
this story will be dated by the time you all hear it, but I think it's relevant, and it just said, "Catch me up." That's how I always start. Just catch me up. What's happened since the last time we
yeah,
talked, which was pre-holiday,
yeah,
and he brought me up to speed, and he just said something to this effect to me. He said, I just don't feel motivated, John. I don't know what's wrong with me.
yeah,
And then all this, my thoughts start to spiral into, should I be here? Am I in the right role? Why did I ever take this role? And,
Yeah.
and he's just going down that path. And I was letting him go down that path for a while. And then I just said, hey, any chance that the rigor and the pace of December is contributing to this? And it was like,
Mm.
huh.
Yeah.
And immediately it was like, wow, yeah, I think maybe,
Right.
yeah, I think
Right.
maybe I
Right.
maybe I don't need to leave here. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just, but
Yeah.
see, when you're in that spot, and I've been in that spot, to have that objective third
Yes.
party who just ask
Yeah.
a good question, and it's
Yeah.
like, it just, well, of course I'm tired after what I've been through the last 5 weeks.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
said, you and probably 80% of your colleagues
Yeah.
feel this way. It's
Yeah.
it's it's almost, it wasn't diminishing how he felt, it was normalizing how he felt.
Yes. That's
And
good.
the fact that he felt that way was not disqualifying.
Right.
And so, I mean, I would, he may have run into somebody else who could help him, and there's a lot of good coaches around,
Sure.
but I wonder how much longer would he have had to wrestle with that
Right.
if he didn't have a coach in his life.
Yeah.
So this is, I really want to encourage pastors this year,
Mm.
2026,
Yeah.
get a coach in
Yes.
your life. Get a
Yes.
coach. Make that investment, because you may be twirling around an issue for months when a 1 hour conversation might unlock the whole
Yeah.
thing for you.
Yeah.
And we would rather you do that.
Yeah.
Just get unlocked, get unstuck, so that you can be fruitful, that you can enjoy what you do more.
Yeah.
Uh, so Jim, that's really what I have today.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, John. I appreciate, I know I speak for all of our watchers and listeners. We appreciate your perspective. Um, it's not dogma. It's fatherly advice. You don't have to live in pain. There are ways to be more productive. Uh, it's almost like Proverbs, where Solomon, says, wisdom stands on the street corner and yells at people, come here. I've prepared the wine. I've cooked the meat. You don't have to walk around blindly. You can, you can be full, you can be filled, you can be blessed. So thank you for that. And I know that it goes without saying, but if you'd like to talk to a Converge coach, convergecoach.com. And there's that 30-minute button. Just press it. It just starts a conversation. And
Yeah,
sometimes what people need is not coaching, they need a legit counselor. Sometimes they
yeah,
need medical help. Sometimes,
that's
so
true.
it's a starting place. But I would say 90% of the time, John, is that maybe more than 90%, coaching really is what's needed. If
Uh,
something's broken,
yeah,
then we'll help you find somebody who repairs that.
that's
But
right.
if something's just kind of rattling, there's a screw loose. If you got a screw loose, come to Converge Coaching. There's a bumper sticker. Before it becomes a red light of a blown engine, listen to the
Yeah.
yellow light that says check your oil. We'd love to be a
Mm,
part of that process. And
yeah.
as John said, there's moments in coaching, and you get it if you serve people. There's that moment where the light comes on. You realize we just saved months or years or a ministry with this one conversation. It is such a
Mm,
joy for us. You're not burdening us. Don't be afraid. Don't procrastinate. All the things John said today. Come on, humble yourself, ask for help. Everybody else is doing it. Those who prosper have counselors, have helpers, have coaches in every arena, athletics, economics, whatever it is. We would love to be a part of your life on that level. So let's do that soon. In the meantime, bless you. We're praying for you. We believe in what God has called you to do. We know you believe in what God has called Converge to do. So we hope to hear from you soon. God bless you as you continue to lead from alignment.